All right, we're live.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
How's it going, you? All right, so I'm Will from the CHRILLCAST, and we are going to be talking about some aliens in one of our favorite games. So I'll go ahead and start with Nakai and allow you guys to introduce yourselves.
Hey, guys, I'm Nakai Vodar, the head of Covenant Canon, a channel that is dedicated to all things Covenant, which includes the Banished, which is one of the topics we'll be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, I will take it to this man.
Thank you, Nakai. Hi, I'm Draco Studios. You might know me for my infamous roles of Zukamari Drakel, the voice of the shipmaster for the DDS S-class carrier in Sins of the Prophets, Par Kul, Dip-Yap, the Grand Noble of Nopiness, and I'm pretty sure one or two kobolds out there somewhere in the universe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm part of this guy's weird channel. Oh, I'm a weird guy myself, based on my attire. You can probably tell that. And yeah,
You have to explain what you're wearing, though.
It's a fez. I wear a fez. Fezzes are cool.
Fez are cool. Yeah. Doctor Who.
And with that, always. Speaking of Doctor Who, let's move forward in time and ship it off to this fine gentleman.
It's mirrored. Thank you. All right, I'm Zenghilios. I mainly do reaction videos to Halo, Marvel, DC, all that great stuff. Make myself look like an idiot online, just getting super excited over a name drop. But yeah, that's what I do. And I guess I'll hit it back to Will.
Yeah. All right. Well, as the thumbnail suggested, when I said before, we're going to be talking all things Halo and especially Halo aliens. There's obviously quite the roster building up from the first game, going through all the books, and obviously also the games. And I guess so. The first question anyone can really, answer it is: which faction is your favorite?
Ooh, well, I'm gonna say it right now: the Swords of Helios.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are pretty much the Arbiters group that pretty much wants no more Covenant stuff and pretty much wants to build a better future to make, say, Helios and the Elites great again.
Oh, man. I mentioned the galaxy at large.
But
yes,
my second favorite faction is the Banished. Which is going to be the main enemy force that we're going to fight in Halo Infinite, at least
allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
They're pretty much a band of mercenaries, pirates, warlords, that kind of deal.
Yeah, very cool. A similar list as my companion up here. Of course, my main go-to has to be for the Swords of Helios because of what they represent in the story. They represent a renaissance for a species, not to mention a redemption arc for one of our beloved characters. Rock the man. And overall, yeah, it's just plus amazing fashion choices, but just we always love a good faction of aliens that used to be bad guys. I guess, and just like there's so much story still left to explore, or especially like with the Blooding Years, because that happened way too fast. Yes. And similar setup as well with Nakai. I love the Banished because they represent such a great antagonistic force. They have a beautiful art design that shines through. They have brilliant character shining through, defying previous tropes we've seen with the Covenant, while also still keeping them in certain places. And overall, I love the impact that both of these factions represent in the story.
Okay. I guess for me, it'd be the Banished. And the funny thing about the Banished is before I even paid attention to Halo Wars 2, when I was first getting the Halo lore, I was like, everyone's like, oh, the Banished is so cool, this, that, and the other. I'm like, it's whatever. They're not the Covenant. And a few months ago, I actually finally got around to watching the Halo Wars 2 cutscenes. And I remember going, oh, that was a Spartan 2. You just knocked and just getting like super shocked about Atriox. I'm like, oh, these guys are mean. And I just remember getting so excited that we have a force that is it comes from, it's rooted in an outcast, that being Atriox, and just being sent on suicidal missions and like, oh, you're back again, all right, go again. Oh, you're back again, go again. And I like that feeling of Atriox just not taking anyone's just BS and just like, I'm gonna do what I want. You guys threw me away, I'm gonna come back 4 times stronger, because as they said in Halo Wars 2, the Banished, the Covenant couldn't even stop the Banished. So I just love the fact that the Banished can offer such a opposing, menacing, and no pun intended, but brutal force for not just the Master Chief, but the Infinity, and basically maybe even the Created. We don't know, but yeah, for me, it's definitely the Banished.
Yes.
All right, so you all, definitely agreed with the Banished being at least one of your favorites. Did you immediately like the Banished, or Was that something that like you kind of grew into it once you like not only played Halo Wars 2 but also read those like the not Fall of Reach but the recent books
Rise
that
of
came out? Rise of Atriox, yeah. Did you always like them, or is it something like you're kind of grew into it?
When I first found out about them, like I actually got really intrigued with them, especially after their E3 trailer where I saw the armor and we got a little info. I was like, that's interesting. But as time progressed, my interest and love for them pretty much blew up, especially after Halo Wars 2 and the Rise of Atriox. And with the newer stuff that we got recently with Shadows of Reach and what we're getting right now with Halo Infinite, I don't see any reason why that love should subside at all.
Are you sad that they continued that story in the mainline game, or should it have stayed in Halo Wars 2 or like Halo Wars 3, I guess?
No, I'm fine with it transitioning to a different game other than the Halo Wars series. Pretty much I see the Banished as something what Julian Dama's Covenant was supposed to be in Halo 4 and 5, but didn't quite land the park on. They were established as a new Covenant, but they didn't really stick. They weren't fleshed out pretty much. They didn't stand out from their own. But as opposed with the Banished, they have like their own unique spin. They have their they took an old concept from the Covenant from the original trilogy and they made their own with brute and brutal aesthetics and motivations, which to me, I think it makes them more unique and more likable as opposed to, like I said, Julian Dama's Covenant or even the Created. Because even now, that whole arc from Halo 5 is still controversial, to say the least.
Oh, yes.
Controversial. Yeah.
For myself, I fell in love with the Banished right away. Just John Marshall is one of my favorite voice actors. Hearing him come back to a brutal role was really nice. And not just generally.
Is that not just my end?
Yeah.
You're breaking up bad, Draco.
Yeah, you're breaking up really bad. You sound like a...
God,
Created has invaded the chat.
Yeah.
Let's just move to Zenghilios for now. Yeah, until he comes back.
I guess just taking over for Draco for now. But I guess for me, I thought the Banished were awesome when I first saw them. I wouldn't say they were my favorite until I read Shadows of Reach and developed or got to see more of Atriox's character developed in the Rise of Atriox comment, which I actually watched on your channel, by the way. So that was really cool. I think the difference for me between the Covenant and the Banished is that the Covenant, although it was really cool, I first played Halo when I was a kid. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm playing as a green guy shooting, aliens. That's a lot of fun. But, me being a little bit more mature and a little bit older now, I can understand the motivations behind the Covenant, which was religious power and this divine desire to control the holy relics and go on this great journey, whereas the Banished, it's militaristic control, it's power, it's a lot more menacing and scary, as with the Covenant, because if the Covenant never found any of these relics or the Halos, for example, and the UNSC were able to stand on their own, they wouldn't have been that much of a threat, as long as, like I said, the UNSC could have standed on their own. The Banished is a different story. The Covenant could not handle the Banished. They blew way out of proportion, and getting that background between Estrom, the 3D, because there's sub-factions in the Banished, which I didn't know about, like the Keepers of the One Freedom, is that what they're called? That was really cool, and I love the idea of, what Estrom says and to Spartan 117, the most iconic Spartan of all time, set a fire in your heart, Spartan, like I'm challenging you to a 1v1, bring it on. And that to me is scary, because the Prophet of Truth would never do that. Prophet of Regret would never do that. Tartarus maybe, but he's crazy enough he might be interested in doing that. But that is scary to be challenged like that. So the Banished, definitely. I always liked them, but after developing their story a little bit more, I definitely think they're my favorite now.
Very cool. All right, Draco. Now that you're back,
it's because my Wi-Fi died. Actually, is what happened.
Oh,
this is what happens when you live in the bush. Regardless, with me, I fell in love with the Banished right away, just because that solid like despite what we saw, just like it was just the tiniest teaser of that scene of the Spartans just being slammed around. To me, it wasn't just the fact that a Gerald Hane was kicking the asses of not one, not two, but three Spartan 2s that were famous for kicking the asses of an entire honor guard legion. But it's more the case of just like there were just these. There's something in the performance you hear with John DiMaggio, that I just absolutely adored, and that shaped this Banished persona. It's like, okay, no, I'm hyped for this. Show me what else you guys are, and just seeing the different pieces come together as Halo Wars came out just made me feel validated. Like, no, yes, this is worth it. Yes. I loved seeing, like, reading the Phoenix logs as I went through, of just these various perspectives in the Banished, learning little bits and pieces that I wish we got to see more in the cutscenes, but I'm glad we still had information available. Just like Decimus is still has faith in it. You've got Let Valir and this almost tragic story of someone who's technically fallen in a weird way. But only to try and protect those I'd call it loves. Of Zenghilios would probably consider like a brotherly love with their crewmates, with loyalty. And just that build up. And then we get the pieces with like Colony, we get Voridus, we get Pavium. We get all these nice, neat little pieces. And then, of course, we get the comedy from Yap Yap. The Destroyer!
Yes.
I tried to resist, I couldn't.
Yes.
But just this build up that the Halo Wars 2 gave us. And then ever since then, every bit of lore, every encounter we have with the Banished is just hype, is just bringing those, in a weird way, these shades of gray. And you have to wonder, like, okay, Aatrox was technically a decent person throughout his run of the comics. What made him change his mind about certain aspects, like using Huragok and like Golo, like kindling to a furnace? Yes. And in a weird way, it fascinates me, like this corruption arc almost.
Yep.
And just that, it's a fun way to see with the Banished. It is the hunt for power corrupts.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and now with Halo Infinite, much like you said, a massive respect to Escharum. This is the first time we have an antagonist who, in a weird way, likes the protagonist in Halo.
Sees him as like a worthy opponent.
Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary.
Well, it's a completely different speech than what the Prophet gave in Halo 3. It's like when he's saying, like, you're crawling around in the dirt like vermin and you're going to burn the planet to glass. He doesn't call anyone out. He just wants to use all this technology to destroy him, whereas Escharum is completely different. He wants to have that face-to-face fight with Master Chief. Is this cool? This is
pretty much like, come at me, bro. Pretty much.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. If there's not a come at me, bro moment, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Indeed. And also, another reason I've come to love the Banished, and sorry I'm taking so long with this.
Oh, no.
But I'm going to just have this one little bit, what we saw with Jago Radomnai in the concept art. I finally feel validated with my character creation.
You got a prosthetic now. Yep.
Mechanical limbs on Zenghilios are okay.
Prosthetics are now a thing.
Yeah, do you think they'll explain that? Because isn't that like against the religion or something?
Well, not necessarily. It's more against their the Zenghilios cultural sense, since they believe that a Zenghilios warrior should either endure their injury or die from it.
Exactly, and like
not get improvement or something like that, like, or get help.
Exactly.
That's against their ethos, that spilling blood outside of battle is considered dishonorable to their people. And and seeing Yeaga with this new prosthetic, it's definitely paying homage to the elites within the Banished, not giving a single fuck about the culture at all.
Language. Sorry, I had to get the one in.
It's totally fine.
Yeah. Regardless, I am so hyped, and I can't wait to see what we do, especially with, like, in terms of gameplay, what we see in Halo Infinite. We know all these amazing units that we have used and fought against in Halo Wars 2. Like, I would love to see how they would pull off like something like a Blisterback in multiplayer.
Yeah, that's my next question, was like, of the factions that we've seen in Halo Wars 2, and also like in the books and comics, what do you think they're actually going to bring over realistically, and what do you want to see?
I think.
Sorry, no, you first. You first. Sorry, I'm talking
Well,
about today.
I think realistically they're gonna bring in the usual brutes, jump packs, chieftain, and elites with minor, major, and a general or warlord as they're called now. But realistically, and they're just pretty much gonna bring in the typical baddies, pretty much. But I gotta say, one thing I really hope they bring in is a scarab, the banished scarab from Halo.
Oh, I hope so.
That thing would be a beast to fight in. Like, imagine fighting a scarab in Halo 3, but it's like a full blown banished scarab. That thing's gonna be, that would be like 1,000 times more badass to take down rather than just a standard scarab.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not gonna put my hopes in it, but it's a possibility. But another unit I would like to see in, maybe engineers.
Very cool.
Because we haven't seen the Huragok since Halo Reach, and I would very much like to see him again.
Oh man, imagine if they brought in the infused engineers as a possible thing to face.
Those were crazy.
Because we can see like when we play the Halo Infinite beta, using I'm forgetting the name of the weapon right now. That brute plasma cannon thing.
Skewer?
Oh, not the skewer. The
heat wave.
Not the heat wave.
I can't think of it either.
Ravager.
Ravager. There you go.
Yeah, the Ravager. Just using that like plasma launch, and like just flame pool. That made me immediately think: is there going to be references to infusion in this? Because if so, that'd be amazing.
Possible.
God, imagine that like being the replacement for the firebomb grenade. Hey, in Halo Infinite, just pulling out an infusion grenade.
That's possible. It's a possible add-on.
But yeah, much like with you, I agree with Nakai and most of the part of this Bog Center stuff, but some other things I do believe we could actually possibly see. We could see maybe a hunter captain as a boss, since what we saw briefly last year, we saw this overworld. Well, in specific places you could go. Maybe one of the boss fights is a hunter captain of some type.
That would be really cool.
Right, being supported by other hunters.
Yeah, what is it?
In Halo, we saw that in Halo 5 with the Swarm Lords a little bit.
Yep. What was the that really large hunter in Halo Wars? It's like a behemoth, I think.
Goliath.
Goliath.
That was close.
About Goliath.
Yeah.
I would like to rage. Sorry, every time I hear Goliath. Anyways, yeah. Also, that's actually I was going to say into one of my hopes. I would love to fight Goliaths. That would be a fun antagonistic force. As I was kind of alluding to before, the blisterback, either as a thing to fight or as a thing to drive.
Yes.
Just because it would be such a fun and unique vehicle to the Halo franchise. Like that most of its power comes from sitting still. A new way to fire a weapon and having to the fun combination of a scarab and a wraith being put to get not scarab, scorpion, mixing a scorpion with a wraith and then giving it the ability to sort of lift up, fly, land.
That'd be cool.
And just, there would be some entertainment there. Some other fun stuff. Maybe we'll see honor guards again. That'd be pretty dope. Oh, because I'd imagine that there have to be some guardians, especially for people like Jegaradamnai. And another, I highly doubt we'll see this. But it would be amazing if we did. Silent Shadow. Zenghilios.
Yes.
Because we know they're under the employ.
It's not impossible. Like Yeager, I think Yeager is a Silent Shadow or an ex-Silent Shadow. We might see Silent Shadow in an expansion.
Exactly. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah. And finally, the last hope. I'm sorry, Zenghilios. I'm so sorry.
No, keep going.
No, you're good. No, you're doing good. I like this.
I think too much. One thing I'd love to see, not necessarily a guy we have a force we have to fight, but in terms of allies, we have a brief stint where we have to work alongside Swords of Zenghilios. I would love to see that because they'd have to have a stake in this fight as well. If the Banished are threatening Zeta Halo, the way I see the Swords of Zenghilios, they're good people, and they would want to help save the galaxy again. And so I'd like to imagine that we have a little bit of Swords of Zenghilios partnership. Imagine we sort of have to sift through the wreckage, and we find a Zenghilio, we get prepared to shoot, but these are do not shoot, but listen. In a moment when you realize, oh, hey, no, that's the Swords of Zenghilios. Yeah. Awesome. Let's go kick ass together. Sure.
Oh, that'd be good.
And I will shut up now. Please take it away, Zenghilios.
God, you're all good. That was some good stuff. I don't know that much in terms of Banished lore and arsenal weaponry and all that as you guys do. So I don't even know what these infused engineers are that you're referring to, but they sound incredibly awesome, and I would love to hear more about them. But as for what I am, as much as I am a Halo fan, I'm a huge Marvel MCU fan. And something I've learned with Marvel and the MCU movies especially is never setting your expectations too high. Because I remember sitting in the movie theater with Endgame and when Wong is like, you wanted more? And then I was like, all right, Daredevil's going to show up. Fantastic Four is going to show up. The X-Men. It never happens. And I don't want to have that same thing happen in Infinite where I'm like, okay, the Spirit of Fire is going to show up. Atriox is going to show up. Estrom and all the other factions are going to come together and fight Master Chief. And we're going to see Banished, not Scorpions, Scarabs and whatnot. As much as I want that, I just want to go in and be like, oh my God, they're actually doing this. And I just want to see in a very, for new players as well and old returning players, I want to see the Banished be, because this is a soft reboot according to 343 Industries, but I want them to be portrayed in a way that the older fans like ourselves can appreciate that. The super deep lore fans like you two over here can also understand, and and the new players as well can be like, okay, this is extremely awesome. What does this mean? Where did it come from? Can I learn more about this? And if they can, they have books like the ones I have behind me to read about. And but I guess if I had to really choose one thing that I would really like from the Banished and the extended lore and the other games like Halo Wars 2 to come over to Infinite would be Atriox. I highly doubt that Atriox in some way, shape, or form will not be in the game, even if it's just like a name drop. I mean, they have to know who Atriox is. I'm pretty sure Chief said Atriox in Shadows of Reach and mentioned him. They have to know who he is.
Estrom. We saw in the Halo Infinite trailer that Estrom,
Yep.
Oh
yeah, he did. He said the hand of Atriox, or something like that. But I want Chief in some way recognize the status of Atriox and be like, okay, so I got to deal with Estrom. Estrom was already a pain in my rear, but now there's this Atriox guy. That's gonna. Maybe a Swords of Zenghilios joint covert op or something like that would be really cool to take on Atriox and that top tier, which I don't think will happen anytime soon, because you want to milk the Banished a little bit and not just waste them like they did Jul Mandama. You want to have fun with them for a little bit. So I don't want Atriox to show up for one mission and Chief instantly just shove a knife in his neck. So that would be a little disappointing.
Not repeat a Jul Mandama scenario.
Please,
yeah.
no.
So all in all, I just Atriox would be cool. The Spirit of Fire, which I know isn't related to the Banished, it would but they saw firsthand. They were the first UNSC contact to see the Banished firsthand, anyways, as far as I know. So it'd be really cool to see them mentioned some way, shape, or form. I doubt we'll see them. But it's still cool to connect lore and be and reassure the fans that everything you're reading, all the time and extra time you're putting into our universe, it's worth it. And this is why. So that's what I'd like to see.
No, we can never miss it, Harley. We can never miss it. That was the worst decision ever written.
Yes.
Nope.
Oh no, Jul Mandama's death.
Yeah.
I will go on a fucking rant if it's going to be bringing it up multiple times. I will go full on rage mode.
I just want to see Atriox use Chief's helmet for a game of golf with Chainbreaker. Just put it over here and.
Well, okay. Speaking of that, do you think that's Locke's helmet on that one brute? I don't remember his name.
Hyperius.
Yeah, Hyperius. Do you think that's actually what that is?
I'm hoping.
Possible.
But not the reason that I hate him.
Possible. But there could always they 343 can always retcon it saying, "Oh no, it's a different Spartan," which I'm like, really? But I'll be like, okay. It's I never cared for Locke anyway from Halo 5, honestly. So even if that is him, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty much my reaction.
I really wanted to like him, but that story, I hated that.
With him, here's my problem with Locke. They didn't give me a reason to care about him that much. Halo Nightfall was supposed to do that, and it kind of didn't. It didn't do anything with him. It just made all his team just look like dickheads, and he just like, oh, they're dickheads now. What? Like,
yeah, and also made the hunters like super freaky. Those like hunter worms can like form bodies now, and it's like, what is happening?
what was happening? Like, I respect what they did with Nightfall, but I mean, it was just poorly executed compared to Forward Unto Dawn. But back to what I was saying. And with Halo 5, they just made him a little confusing. Like, oh, now he's hunting Chief, and then all of a sudden, oh, Cortana's in the mix. Now I'm gonna help him. Like, what? He's still rogue, though. Shouldn't you be still hunting him down?
Well, to be fair, if someone's holding a gun to your planet, you kind of want to focus on the person holding the gun to your planet.
Missions change; they always do.
But
nice.
That's fair, but I mean, like, it wasn't until like the end of Halo 5 that the gun was being pointed. Like, I don't know. It just didn't. Locke was just a poorly written character, in my opinion, and having him killed off by Hyperius, it won't affect me that much. Like, the only character I think that would really make me go, what the actual F, would be either Lasky or Buck.
Yeah.
Anyone else, I really couldn't care less. Palmer, I'd be like,
yay!
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I just personally don't like Palmer, but regardless,
that's another just really badly written character. I don't know what they're going for.
I will give some points to Palmer.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I may not like her. I do not like her as a character. She is not interesting to me, but I think the hate is a little unjustified.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a little unjustified. It's just.
But to bounce back to Locke, I wanted to like Locke. The actor did a fantastic job acting as him. It's just,
for sure,
he wasn't given great material to act from. And I hope it's his helmet on Hyperius, mainly for story development. More of the case, like, I don't want it to be just like, oh, you killed him off screen. Oh, now his helmet's here. No, what I would love to see actually is like a development of it. Of just like, maybe we see Hyperius before without the helmet on his shoulder. Every once in a while we sort of get reports from Locke. He's the one who's kind of like, we find out he's a fellow survivor. He's running missions in the background. And that could be like future DLC where we play as him on these hunting routes, so to speak.
Yes.
Monk.
And then with that, we have just this moment of just like, we find Hyperius one more time, but this time we see the helmet, and just sort of Hyperius kind of like a bit grandstand, just like, you sent your little puppets, your little scouts, as he kind of holds the necklace of Spartan fingers.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I enjoy
agree.
a lovely feast.
And everyone's like, holy crap.
And maybe even we could also see him like with a few extra scars, though, making sure like, no, Locke got his kicks in.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe he survives, maybe not. I would not be opposed if he died, but also I wouldn't be opposed if he was living. Because I just also want the actor to get more work.
Sure. I guess for me, I would be extremely disappointed if Locke died. I don't want him to die. I like the potential of Fireteam Osiris. I didn't like the execution. I think that, Vale, the most character development Vale got in Halo 5 was in the last mission where she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I know Zenghilios. And you're like, okay, great. Where was that the entire game? Or at least more of it. I just wish we got, a little bit more from each character. And it would be really cool if, Infinity heavily heavily underestimated the Banished. Like, oh yeah, we took care of the Storm Covenant. We crashed into that ship, easy peasy. And we'll do the same with the Banished. They show up like, all right, Fireteam Osiris, go take down Hyperius. They go. All of them just get smacked by this one brute. And he's keeping trophies. Like, yeah, I just did all that. Like, what's up? What you guys got? And all the other, Spartans are like, oh my God, like we got to do something about this. And it's just like a way to intimidate not just the other Spartans in the universe, but the player too, because of, Locke, who he is a capable Spartan. He really is. I think he has the potential of, doing some really great things, although he failed at assassinating Thel, but I'm happy he failed.
He wasn't responsible for the assassination. It was a case of writing up the dossier to assassinate him.
He did a good job writing it.
Great paperwork.
Yeah, he couldn't even write
Love the
anything. He sucks at the paperwork. But anyways, my point in bringing this up is just I just want something more out of these characters. I think it'd be a huge waste of not just potential but time in Halo 5 to set up these characters and be like, yeah, you just don't pay attention to that. Just like as if they were just completely ignore the created in Halo Infinite. By the way, I don't know any of the Halo Infinite campaign spoilers or anything, so I don't know what's going on there. But if they come. Okay, so no one here does. So if they completely ignore the created, I'm going to be extremely disappointed because although I'm not a big fan of that storyline, I don't want them to completely. Yeah, and same with Fireteam Osiris and Locke and the interactions they had with one another. Just seeing that be completely ignored in Infinite is a missed opportunity. It's a waste of time. It's a waste. It prevents the actors from working with something. And I just want to see that be redeemed. And I just think that Infinite has the potential to fix a lot of things that Halo 5 may have stumbled across or stumbled over.
I completely respect that, and honestly, I agree with your opinion with that one. Full stop. Because just because the character isn't working right for your story, you don't just kill him off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking at you, D&D players who constantly swap characters, stop giving me a headache.
Oh God.
Regardless. Yeah. Sorry, I had to get that joke out, but yeah, no, I fully agree with you with that result.
Yeah, I guess just long story short, I want Hyperius to have that helmet, but I don't want Locke to be dead. I want Hyperius to hold trophies. I want him to be a force to be intimidated by, and I want it to also further the plot. I don't want him to be a bullet sponge. But yeah, I just want it to be like Locke couldn't take him down. These other Spartan forces couldn't take him down. What do you got, Chief?
What if he ends up he defeats Locke, but instead of killing him, he just humiliate. Oh, I can't say the word. He just takes his armor and basically sends him back to the Infinity defeated.
That's what a brute would do.
Yeah, almost definitely.
Oh,
So,
I would see some.
Actually, this would also be pretty potent storytelling because Hyperius doesn't seem to be very high. Like, he's decently high on the chain of command, but then you think of okay, this is Hyperius. What's Escharum gonna do? And then you just build it up and this is Escharum. What's Escharum gonna do to you?
You just walk into his chamber and he's devouring Vale.
Not my baby.
Knowing Zenghili didn't save you anymore, Vale.
Yeah.
Vale, no. Laura Bailey, why?
All right. So going back to the alien discussion, and kind of branching away from Halo Infinite, which game do you think had the best alien design and or the best alien AI?
That's kind of a difficult one, honestly.
Sorry.
We all know the most dreaded one in Halo 2.
If I would have to say, the best alien design has to go to Halo 2 Anniversaries.
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
The everywhere, the elites, the grunts, which pretty much are just Halo Reach, the brutes, the jackals, the drones. They were just all around just beautiful. I would not change a thing about them, honestly, in my books. In terms of gameplay, though, Halo 5. In terms of their gameplay, I kind of like how they operated, especially the hunters. I liked how the hunters were, especially when they go full on rage mode. When you kill one of their Bond brothers, and they go green sparks all flying around them, and they go freaking berserk. I honestly like that part about them. It made them more unique as opposed to their other depictions in the games. Yeah.
I'm gonna go through this species at a time. I
like it.
For grunts, honestly, I think my favorite art design for the grunts has to go to CE. I don't know why. Despite the low graphics, but the classic design for grunts, I don't know. In a weird way, I felt more sympathetic with them because they were actually kind of adorable. They were they're still adorable in my eyes, but they're most adorable in classic CE. Plus the unique styles, you could have their different packs come in. And that was great. In terms of their gameplay, I think they did best with Halo 3 with their gameplay, their AI, because if you underestimate those little grunts, they can pack a punch, although it is closely followed by Halo Reach's AI. Because you have just the different ranks. Thanks. So yeah, 2 favorite designs have to be CE and Reach for the Grunts, and favorite AI is Reach and Halo 3 AI. For the Kigyar, or the Jackals, those favorite art design has to go to Reach, though I will give some points to Halo 4 and 5, because I do love the Aviations. The Aviation Kigyar are a lot of fun to just sort of see. Plus, I may have certain biases.
Okay. All right.
We're good.
No, we don't need an ear screecher now.
But yeah, in terms of their gameplay, how can I resist not saying it? It's Halo 2's Jackal AI. Even like the base infantry, the base infantry normal ones are still pretty good. But they can still tactic, and of course the fun of them like, oh nope, I realize what's going on here. Nope, I'm out of here. And of course,
I think
the dreaded snipers.
Yep, I was about to say the snipers. Those things are the stuff of nightmares.
Had nosebleed there for a second.
PTSD.
Nosebleed, PTSD. And to jump on there as well, skirmishers. Here's our Tavawan. And they're my favorite design of Kigyar of all time. I love their AI in Halo Reach. I'm just going to mention them because they're, yes, you could do it in overall the Kigyar area, so I'm going to do that. Keeping up on the totem pole, the Hunters, I will say in terms of appearance, I love the Halo Reach appearance. So actually, no, the Halo 2 Anniversary / Reach appearance looks amazing for the Hunters, especially the vibrant colors you see with Halo 2 Anniversary. And in terms of their AI, that one has to go. I do give it. I do like what they were going for with the Halo 5 Hunters, but they are way too fast to be Hunters. That there's something like if you slowed them down by like 20%, and I would be okay with them. But I do respect what they were going for with their design of the AI for them and the gameplay loop. But I will say, I don't want to give so much props to Halo 3 because Halo 3 is so overblown, but I do like the way they work in Halo 3 in terms of their gameplay loop. Fair. Canon is very effective. That just beam of energy, the way they work together in unison, and even a small berserk goes on, though not as potent as it was in previous Halo games. Next up goes to Jiralhane, of course. Art design, it's Halo Wars 2 and Halo Infinite. That, although also a mixture of that and the Halo Wars brute, because I love the look of Thrall Slayer. It looks so good. That proper mix of monkey and terror. But my designs have to go in Banished design number 1, Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars 1, and then Halo 2 Anniversary, because just that is all so satisfying. And in terms of gameplay, the only real gameplay they existed in was Halo 3. Yes, we fought them in Halo 2, but they were bullet sponges. Yes, we had them in Halo Reach, but they were bullet sponges. At least in Halo 3, even though the AI was not great, at least there's some kind of gameplay loop that's somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
Then we climb up to the Huragok. Give it to Halo 3 ODST, of course. And thank you, Harley. Good catching that. Sorry. Where was I? Yes, engineers, of course, go Halo 3 ODST. I want to hug these things. They deserve all the love. Why Covenant? Why Banished are you such bastards to these adorable children? And then we get the Sanshayu. We only had them in one game, but we had to acknowledge that they were a Covenant race that we did fight. So we only have one example. Halo 2 Anniversary. Fuck you, regret for taking out 30 hours of gameplay in my life as I try to beat your fucking level, but you refuse to die because it's Halo 2 Legendary. Please roll over and die, regret. Amen. And finally, of course, our favorite boys, the warty boys, the good alligators, the split jaws, our glorious Zenghilios overlords. In terms of art design, my favorite design has to always be the Halo Reach design, especially with the armor. And also, honestly, the game loop. Honestly, Halo Reach Elites are my apex in terms of design in all fronts, though I will say the complete void eyes, shark-like eyes, no. Give us the expressive eyes of Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 3. And then you have the perfect Zenghili design, in my humble opinion. And yeah, I'm going to shut up now. So sorry, Zenghilios.
No, you're good.
Good.
I like that you broke it down species by species. That's cool. For me, I'm gonna start off with the AI mechanics. I'm gonna start off by saying the worst of the worst. I hate my life mechanics are Halo 5 Mythic Firefight. I've been grinding the SR 152. Oh my god, I hate it. I want to die. Worst ever. Anyways, now that I got that out of the way. In terms of best AI and my favorite, for me, it's probably Halo 2, because I think Halo 2 handled not just the alien species like the Brutes and the Zenghili, the Ungoi, Kigar, all of them, but they also handled how they all work together in unison so well. The Brutes, you make them mad, they'll charge at you, and you got the Flood to worry about too, which are also, as the Brutes are charging at you, you got Flood behind your back, and you're like trying to figure out what is more dangerous to you at the moment. I really love that fact that the Brutes really like pressure you in Halo 2. That was awesome. The Zenghili, also really great. They have their energy swords and their plasma rifles, and those are always fun to hear. The sound design always, every time they're shooting, they're rolling, and they're saying funny stuff like, "Is this because of Reach?" Which I know that's a Halo 3 line, but it's still just those funny lines and interactions you have with Elites in Halo 2, especially Anniversary, are really great. But overall design, also Halo 2 Anniversary. The Halo 2 Anniversary design for the Zenghili is god tier. It's perfect. I love it. The colors on them alone are fantastic. And I can't say I like Halo Infinite because we've only seen one Elite in Halo Infinite in terms of gameplay. Yes, we've seen Jaga, but that was a concept art, which also looked fantastic. It's as if a Brute was an Elite, because he doesn't look like an Elite. He looks like like as if an Elite was a Brute trying to be in the Banished. So that's a really cool design to me. Because to me, Zenghili are they're holy. They have a really strong sense of honor and family, brotherhood. And I think you would know, Nakai, but that scene that they were talking about in Point of Light, if you finished, you did read it, because I remember you tweeting about it. The Hall of something, what's it called? The
Hall of Eternity.
Yes, that. Oh, my bad. That was such a cool not Easter egg, but lore aspect to it. And I think for me, the Halo 2 Anniversary, it gives that vibe to me. Like, they have that strong sense of brotherhood and loyalty and honor. And I think maybe it's just because they have dialogue. In Halo Reach, they don't really have that too much dialogue, but just hearing them talk and all that, that design aspect for all the races in Halo 2 Anniversary, it's just, I think, to sum it up, it's just beautiful. It's perfect. It's Halo. Best AI mechanics, again, Halo. It's just Halo 2 Anniversary. It's just peak
so
Halo
beautiful
for me.
Oh yeah.
And it's just everything. Halo, my answer is for everything in terms of my favorite Halo 2 Anniversary. It's my first time playing Halo 2 is Halo 2 Anniversary, because I didn't get that opportunity as a kid. My very first Halo game was Halo 3. So in the beginning of the game, I see Chief crash, and I'm like, this is great. What is going on? So I love
lucky.
that. He's lucky. Yeah, that's his character. He's just lucky. He's lucky and he's green. But yeah, I guess long story short, answer Halo 2 Anniversary in terms of best design, best AI, best everything. I just love it. Sound design, looks, everything. So that's my final answer.
Yeah, my answer is going to be a lot shorter than basically everyone's. I think Halo 2 Anniversary is just peak design. I love how it looks. I mean, I'll always be a sucker for CE because that was the first one I played, and I love how that game looks too. Not the Anniversary graphics as much. I don't like how they stuffed Reach into that game. But yeah, as far as the way it looks, I like every single design in H2A. As far as like gameplay and AI, that's tough. I think there's pros and cons in every single game. Like I really like the rolling animation and the wart from the Halo CE, but I realize it's probably like the least complicated AI they had in any of the games. I do like the charging mechanic in Halo 2 with the Brutes. I like how they throw down their weapons and they charge, and they like the bullet sponge aspect. Actually, like, I thought that was cool because it's terrifying. You don't want to get to that point. And I thought when got to Halo 3, I liked it, the way they looked better, and I liked how they talked and the general AI better. But they're, when they actually go in Berserk, it was kind of dumb. It's like, okay,
the Berserk is easy to kill in Halo 3.
It's not scary at all. It's like if they just had like that Brute design with the Berserk from Halo 2, that would be amazing and freaking terrifying. As far as like hunters, I always felt they were so much heavier in the first game and much more menacing in that game. And maybe it's just because I was so young playing it and that was the first time I encountered them. Or I like Halo 2 as well, because remember how like they break through that door in the first what's the first level? Cairo Station? No.
Cairo
Streets.
Yeah, that one. So then they burst that door, and you're on the machine gun, and you have
robust
two of them come through. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, I guess I would say for AI, just overall, I think the AI in Reach was my favorite. My least favorite was Halo 5. I wish that they had put the what is the new species of Kikyar?
Tavoan.
Tavoan.
Sean.
Yeah, so I wish they had introduced those alongside of the like OG Jackals, because I really like that design. I think that they look so cool, and it's just I did not receive them well initially because I was upset that they changed the design so drastically. So like a lot of undue hate for that character and that character design. But like I've gone back and realized like that's actually really cool. They're very scary looking, and there's some scenes where they jump out of the corner like I grab a marine or something, and it's really cool. And yeah, so honestly, I think that might be my favorite Jackal, just because that's pretty cool.
I will a little bit of point that I always sort of make to myself. My personal headcanon is like the Jackals we see with the masks over themselves in CE. Mm-hmm. I like to personally imagine, no, that's an Ibiation, just wearing armor.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I kind of just want to point something real quick about the Jackal design. I think I'm gonna change that to Halo 4 and 5 because to me they just look like dinosaurs, which is funny to me. But two, like I was saying with the Hall of Eternity and the Zenghilios, they kind of just give off that vibe of honor and loyalty and all that with Halo 2. The pirate, because Jackals are a lot of they're pirate species, a lot of them, and I think that jumping on Marines, rolling around, and giving that scary just dinosaur look to me just screams pirate, and just I don't know what it is about it. They just look like pirates to me in Halo 4 and 5. And I really like that. The way they talk too in Halo 5, I hear it all the time in Firefight, and I really like that. When he's like, I forgot, they say something like human dead, very good. I was like, oh man, that's kind of mean. But they just sound like pirates to me. Exactly. Yeah. I just love that.
I want to see a scene in Infinite where they're actually just eating people and you just see them in the corner. And that's the scene that you come up on.
Very cool. I would love to see
that. And they're like picking through the scrap.
Cool. Oh man, imagine like a Jackal boss fight, and you just sort of see it like just sort of almost like full on.
That'd be a really short fight, though.
Oh, most likely. Most likely.
Yeah. Well, he throws the shield like Captain America.
Yeah, you shoot him.
Oh,
yeah, I sort of imagine like full on Dark Crystal Skeksis. You have just this table of disgusting foods, and you realize, oh, that's not food, that's people. Well, and you just have this one whether it's Tavoan or Ibiation, just this captain among them who's sort of leading the mercenaries, just picking their teeth. And also like full on Rise of Atriox. You could have like a Yanmei kind of fly and just like, you go carry me. Enjoy the festivities.
I love yourself.
For 3, if you need a voice actor.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so speaking of the drones, do you think they'll return ever, or do you think that's just
I miss the drones?
I hope so. I really want to see the Yanmei. I really want to see them back.
They're so much fun.
Yeah, they were fun in Halo 2 and 3
Reach.
and in Reach.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were removed. They added some airborne flight.
Yeah, very unique
enemies, and I like them.
And I think it would be cool, like how you saw in Halo 3. I don't know if it did in Reach 2, but they would actually pick up the Marines and like carry them off. I think it'd be cool if you get like a swarm and actually picks up your Warthog and like will carry off the Warthog. That'd be like a really interesting thing. It's like you have to shoot them really quick, otherwise they're going to take over the vehicle.
Yeah. Oh god, imagine having to try and fight a Yanmei queen. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But also full on like xenomorph queen.
That's terrifying.
Xenomorph queen, yeah. Okay, so we were talking, Nakai and I were talking about this earlier before we started, but Playable Elites, do you think it's going to happen? And if you do, like, what's the timeline? Do you think it's going to be something like season 2, or is this way in the future if they're planning it?
Like we were saying, I hope that they bring them back. They didn't say that they was out of the question. It wasn't like a drop, like straight up no, they're not coming back. They're not going to be an Infinite at all. They said it's a possibility. I think with that comment alone, we are probably not going to see them in the next couple seasons. My best guess, if they are coming back, which I hope to God they do, I would hope that they come back in probably like in the middle of the season, like probably middle of next year, maybe a year and a half, or like somewhere in the near future. Hopefully not like 3 years or something like that, which though it may be a possibility. But like I said, there's been a lot of fans that have been very vocal about wanting Playable Elites to return, myself included. It made Halo unique in Halo 2, 3, and Reach. And just removing that, they kind of alienated that kind of side of the community. They're doing a good job with MCC and bringing back the elite armors and all that. That was a great move on their part. And now they just need.
But I wanted a new game. I want to see it in like the all shiny new graphics.
Exactly. They need to up that game and put it in Infinite, which they could easily pull out, like with a Swords of Helios Warzone type scenario where they're joint mission and all that. It's totally possible. I just hope that they seize the opportunity and appease that side of the community that, for the most part, felt like they've been ignored for the last 10 years.
Yeah, agreed.
Zenghilios, would you like to go first? I feel this is going to be a long one coming from me.
Sure. Honestly, the Halo Infinite is a live service game. We all know this. And I'm worried that, by the time year 2, year 3 comes around, it's going to be dead unless they start coming out with things that make us excited. Like Halo 5 had some free DLC and that was cool, but it wasn't anything. Yay, all right, I want to jump in the game. It's just armors and extra stuff and whatnot. That was cool. Outside of Forge, I don't see Playable Elites coming anytime soon. Maybe another year, because they're going to be focused on a co-op campaign, 2 Forge, 3 polishes, bug fixes, all that stuff that's going to inevitably be there at launch. That's how every game is, and I respect that. They got to work out all that stuff, but unfortunately, something 343 has to understand is that by not having Playable Elites in the game, I've always played as a Zenghili. That's my preferred species. You're alienating, no pun intended, a large portion of the Halo community, both
Agreed.
New and old. I mean, what makes Halo so interesting is that, as compared to other first-person shooter games, is the variety, the sandbox, the maps, the gameplay loops, everything like that, and the option to play as something other than a human. And I think that adding Playable Elites is going to be something in a season that could, bring more players back. Okay, we got something new, something really exciting that changes the way the game, plays. Like maybe Spartans are more fast and nimble, but, an elite could come up to you and just knock you upside the head in one hit and one kill, but you're a lot slower. You could add game, maybe not in competitive, but social game modes, or they could add invasion in a season back. That way you have a reason to bring elites back. That makes sense lore wise. Like you were saying, you could do, if they don't even want to do that, they could do a joint Swords of Helios operation, because multiplayer in Halo Infinite and Halo 4 5 I believe is lore. Like it is in the lore. And doing a Swords of Zenghilios thing is a lore, a way they could fit it into the lore, and it makes the players happy. It makes the lore, people like Grim happy, and I just think that it's a huge missed opportunity not to bring Playable Elites back soon. Waiting 3 years is going to kill it. Most people are going to be on to like Elder Scrolls 6, GTA 6 if those games ever come out. I just think they need to do it soon, but I don't see it happening within the next 6 months. And
the thing is, it's a live service game, so they're missing a huge opportunity. It's like all of the armor pieces and different elites you could have. I mean, people would buy that, or grind for it. Yeah. And another one I want, it's like, how many Halo games do we have now? We've lost customization. It would be cool to add something, so like add brutes. It'd be cool to play as brutes, or have a game mode where you get to play as a hunter. That would be awesome.
I agree.
I think Draco has something to say.
That's you.
I have waited.
I have waited.
We have
My
waited.
time has come.
11 years. It has been 11 years since we got to be Playable Zenghili in a mainline Halo game. Every time there hasn't been a game with them in it, we have seen how tired the community has become. It drives everyone batty.
Betty. So dramatic.
As calm as possible. When you've been stuck waiting for 11 years in a box. Oh. Regardless.
Relatable.
Regardless. They would need no, full on, like, this is money waiting for them. You are burning money. Like, if you have to be capitalistic, if you are that depraved, this is the fastest way to earn money in the Halo franchise. You build a big old season of invasion, plaster playable elites. We have seen on the countless forums, we have seen the community feedback. I believe now they're sitting on Halo Waypoint, a 1,000-page tirade about how to implement them in the games from before even Halo 5. No, I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at that one. I'm going to look at that chat trend, and I'm going to see how many pages we're at right now. Because last I saw it 3 years ago, it was at 900 pages.
I'd like to also throw out the petition that certain someone that may or may not be in this live stream put out, and how many signatures that has.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Zenghilios. Okay, no, it wasn't as big as I thought it was. But also that's a lot of pages. That's 960 pages. It's straight, discussing different ways to balance it.
Just do it like Halo 2, where you have them slouched over. I don't understand why that can't happen. Like, I don't care if they're not the right size. I want to play as one. Come on.
Exactly. We're willing to take that risk. And the people in the oh no, they ruin competitive. Who cares?
Embrace it.
Who cares but you?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's Halo. It's fun. I don't care.
if you don't want us in competitive, that's fine. But also don't be like Halo Reach. Don't be like Halo Reach with its playable elites, where they were just locked to 1 or 2 game modes.
Yeah, that was
modes. Let them be free, and you're wasting time. I would say realistically, and I want them to put it in, I want them to be playable. And if they don't give it to us, most people will freak out. The best time is either like in 8 months or a year, at most a year and a half. Because so far, like, I don't want to be negative. Thank you, Nakai, for being a positive face in the Halo community. With all the news that we've had to deal with, of no co-op, no Forge at the start, a broken battle pass system. Just this launch needs to be strong. It needs this. It needs this. Yes, and if we have to wait, most people are going to wait maybe for a year and a half. If you don't have a strong enough pull, if you don't have a strong enough story, if you don't have a strong enough gameplay. Luckily, from what we saw in the beta, the gameplay loop is solid, and I can't wait to see how you can implement that with Zenghili. Plus the variety of customization options that you can squeeze money dry out of people. You've got fans of the Halo 4 and 5 Hesduros phenotype. You've got the Halo 2 anniversary. You can use those two very effectively to milk the wallets. I don't want to think like that, but so far that's the mentality that Microsoft and 343 has unfortunately given us. I don't want to think like that, but that's what we have to unfortunately deal with. And it's unfair to the game designers, to the lore fans, to the Halo fans, and to everything that is involved with Halo. And along with that, to play with that Halo invasion mode, something that they could really, if they want to wow people, you can kind of take a bit of a Battlefront, Battlefront? Is Star Wars Battlefront? Yeah, it's Star Wars Battlefront approach of, UNSC versus Banished. And you could get those other playable races. You could, and imagine the levels of customization you could get away with by just you have these hunter classes, you have these brute classes, you've got Hurricane classes. Imagine the intense amount of customization you could create with a game mode like
so amazing. But I feel like 343 is almost too concerned about lore accurate multiplayer And
but then also at the same time,
Yeah, but
this
even
is accurate.
Even then, it would still be accurate. It would still
Yeah.
very much be accurate, given what we know about like certain lore aspects, like the Anvil Initiative. Like that alone justifies Playable Elites right there.
Exactly. Like Swords of Helios and joint occupation zones. And also along with that, we've seen, like in recent novels, we've seen humanity have to team up with an elite, even though they're Covenant, and you can't trust them. But we've seen it time and time again. No, we have to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I'm sorry I'm so overdramatic with this, but I am tired.
It's not overdramatic, it's passionate.
Yeah.
It's overdramatic. We all know this.
Passionate. We're all thinking the same thing.
It's just so frustrating that they're in their third main game and we still haven't gotten Playable Elites. It's like every game we're like, give it to us. Like, you keep taking things away from us. Why are you doing this? I don't know. It just boggles my mind.
I love.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like 343, we know you're amazing people. We know you are creative. We know you are intelligent. You are all wonderful people down at that office. Yes. I am not like many other people in this chat who have gone to what's it called? The
Outpost Discovery.
Outpost Discovery or PAX. X. But I know, just based on the interactions, the way they interact with the community, they don't deserve the hate that they get.
Oh no, they obviously
they're doing their best.
Best.
But it's hard to say that when you keep making the same mistakes again and again and again and again. And I believe in you guys. I don't think 343 can hear me on this. But I'm saying this directly to you. I want you to get mad. I want you to get out of your chairs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to write. I'm not going to tell you to write. I'm not going to tell you to protest because I wouldn't even know what to tell you. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm dying.
And the rebellion has died.
Oh no, my hat! Get back here, you. Sorry, I went dark there for a bit. Are we still recording?
Yes. No, we've been off for about an hour. You just kept going, so.
Yes, sorry, I've been unconscious that entire time.
All right, so moving on. 343 has said that there's going to be like a day-night cycle in Halo Infinite, and some of the some of the Banished aliens are going to be like glowing differently, or there would be more of a certain enemy type versus during the day. How do you think this is actually going to impact gameplay? How far do you think they're going to take that concept, and what alien species would you want to encounter in a dark alley?
I don't think anyone wants to. Well,
yeah.
No, I know my friend group. Sorry, continue.
So I think where we're gonna counter in like a day cycle, in my opinion, we may face like more elite characters. Like if a Silent Shadow do come in, they might be a factor. Also we might see jackal snipers be more of a problem in day cycles because you can't see where they're going at, and their sniper shots are like impossible to see. But also, another thing could be just as scary: a hunter popping out of the dark and just smashing right at you. Like, oh my, that would like scare
in the dawn. That'd be cool.
Shit out of me.
Sorry. I had a terrible idea. It's not going to happen. Most likely not. But imagine you're just stalking through the undergrowth in the dark of night, and you just hear that slithering, and you realize you've stepped into a pile of Legolo worms.
Oh,
you have to like kind of like fight them off on the ground. Like think like a Dead Space style, as they're just skittering along the ground. You're just trying to find the source of them.
Yeah.
And just like much like the infection forms, just trying to crawl up on you, just like no, get away.
And if you don't kill them fast enough, they actually form a hunter. That'd be cool.
Or if you want to make it even worse, a Goliath.
Yes.
Oh man.
Wonderful.
But yeah, sorry. Were you continuing, Nakai? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just transitioning over to you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. With that, first of all, thank you, Harley, in the chat. Visor / night vision, please. That would be amazing. A great use for that. Yeah, Gerald hunting packs at night, hearing the howls and the just. Oh yeah, no, that's some horror
That's
movie.
also a good idea. That's also
some
a good
horror
idea.
movie vibes.
It's a really good idea.
Oh man, imagine like Spec Ops or Silent Shadow Zenghili working alongside brute stalkers in the middle of the night. Like them just trying to herd you into the other group.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Along with that, I could definitely imagine, again, as you were saying, Nakai, Kigyar moving through the branches at night. During the day, I would actually more imagine. I do want to see hunters at night, but hunters during the day I feel would be more common, mainly because just the worms need to feed. eat sometime. And along with that, I'd imagine we would see less grunts. I imagine the difficulty goes up at night. During the day, you have a lot more grunts, but at night, the grunts are all cozy in their camps and relaxing. Meanwhile, you're out here dealing with jackal snipers around every corner. But yeah, along with that, definitely a change in tactics. You have to deal with a lot more stealthy enemies.
Yeah,
Is thus a reason why to have your and like with what we saw with the equipment in the beta, using that tracking transponder, or launching that out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, very cool.
That will be your best friend.
Yeah, you just shoot it in like a dark space, you don't see anything, and all of a sudden you see like the outline of like 100 enemies. That'd be really cool. It's not going to happen, but really cool.
Yeah, less vehicle combat, more infantry combat happens at night. I'd imagine.
Yeah, cool. What are you using, Helios?
I pretty much agree with everything you guys have said so far, so I'm not going to repeat it. I mean, all that stuff sounds great, but to me, again, these aren't confirmed to be in the game, but I'm pretty sure they are. How scary would it be? You're just minding your own business on Zeta Halo, and a giant freaking flood tank form smacks you from behind, or you hear some like a little skithering behind you, and you're like, I know that sound, go away. So I think maybe. I don't know about seeing more flood at night, but I don't think the flood cares if it's day or night. They're just here to, they're feed and grow and, make a grave mind or two. So I just think it would be really scary. I don't think we'll see more of the flood, but I definitely think the atmosphere and the vibe around the flood is going to severely change at night, if that is something we are even getting in the game. Something else I don't think any of us have even touched once in this video is the fact that, maybe briefly, but the created is in Halo Infinite. We know this. I mean, Cortana's still out there. So how exactly is the created a faction? How are we going to fight them?
That's a great question.
Is that something we're going to have to deal with at night during the day? I mean, you can't really shoot an AI. So is it going to affect how much technology you can use at night or during the day? Is it going to affect, because I don't know. That's just a really interesting concept. We know the trailer we saw in that Discover Hope was like halfway through the game or something is what 343 said. So I don't know if the created is even going to be halfway through the game, because I just don't know. But that's my answer. I mean, flood at night would be really cool. Is created going to factor in? But I just think the flood atmosphere at night is going to be extremely terrifying if we get that.
Sorry, to take from the chat real quickly, Frosty Ape, that's actually brilliant. Getting wildlife, especially what we saw like in the concepts of CE, that'd be amazing. Imagine like fighting blind wolves or thorn beasts.
That's another one of those things where they didn't say outright like it's never going to happen. It's just at launch they won't be attacking you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, I forgot about that. Scheiße.
Yeah, Harley. That's a good idea. That's sick. Terrifying, but sick.
Oh man. That'd be good. But back to the created. How do we think that's actually factoring in? Because so far they haven't shown them, and it seems like it's kind of post that conflict. However, they did mention they're going to be there. So, like, will we see the old Cortana? Will we see like created like on the ring, or how's it going to factor in?
Hey, I found them. They've been swept under the rug.
That was good.
I think the create they're going to be mentioned a bit. I think they're going to be mentioned a bit in the vanilla campaign, but I think they said they're going to like expand the story within Infinite. So I think they're going to be probably not in the vanilla campaign, but in an expansion they're probably going to deal with that. I would imagine it's probably going to take place. It's probably going to be like they're going to deal with the created probably in the second expansion after we're done with the main campaign.
Okay.
Which I suspect won't be too far away. Probably like maybe in a year, maybe like kind of like how it was with Awakening the Nightmare with Halo Wars 2. I think it might be in that kind of factor. But I do think we're gonna address the created situation. We're gonna fight them. Maybe not on the Halo ring. Maybe the story will evolve beyond Zeta Halo and to other places like Earth, Zenghilios, Valhalla, other places probably to deal with the created situation.
So I don't know quite like how the whole like the way the Halo rings actually really work, but I do know like Cortana's technically in the domain now, right? Or part of the domain.
Yep.
Can you do like a do like a pulse with the Halo ring and destroy the domain, or at least like in that area, so she no longer has control?
Well, it's a weird
Without
case.
killing
It's
everyone.
biological life. Only things with nervous system.
Well, actually, no. The domain was actually affected because it uses neural physics. It was significantly damaged, and that's why, like, post the rings firing, like, it was on the verge of cracking. And that group of Forerunners went inside and like, oh, hey, no, we found it. It's broken. Let's make sure that it's fixed. Turn it on and off again. It's okay now.
Yeah, and it was kind of addressed a little bit in Point of Light, which Zenghilios, I think you read it, and I think it did expand on the domain a little bit, and how it was damaged by the Halo and all that. So I don't think with Cortana in the domain, I don't think she has any control with a Halo ring, or I think they might use a Halo ring to weaken Cortana or sever her link with the Guardians, because the Halo ring did, like you said, significantly damage the domain. So maybe they might use a Halo ring without actually firing it. Maybe use a mechanism within it to cripple Cortana.
Go ahead, Draco. You're next.
No,
Sorry,
no.
I'll hold off.
No, I'll let you. You seem passionate about this.
When I said earlier, I don't know any Halo Infinite campaign spoilers. I don't, and I'm not going to say what I know because even I don't want to even risk saying something. But I just do know that the created in some way, shape, or form will be handled in the main game. So I know in some way, shape, or form they are going to be vanilla Halo Infinite. They're going to be handled. I don't know what that means or to what extent. They could just be in for 5 minutes. I don't know. I just know that based on what I've been told, what they did with the created is good. They did the best approach according to someone else's opinion. But so in terms of how they're going to be in Infinite, or if they are in like a major way, I think they are, but I don't know too much. I didn't ask for a spoiler. I just asked for if what they saw was good. It's basically what I asked, and they said yes. In terms of Point of Light, I also don't want to say a spoiler in case you guys haven't read it or care about reading it. But yeah, they did mention the domain. There was actually an Easter egg to that in a Halo 5 terminal or audio log. Sorry, I forgot the Foreigner's name, but he basically talks about this Foreigner exoplanet. I won't say the significance of it because it's a huge spoiler for the future of the Halo universe. But yeah, the domain was affected. It was broken a little bit, and like you said, they kind of fix it real quick. As for how Cortana's control is going to be affected by a Halo ring, I don't know, just because it seems to kind of tropey to just make part of the campaign or all the campaign on a Halo ring just because the game is called Halo. I mean, we've had Halo games where you're barely on a Halo ring, or a Halo ring is not even in the game, like Halo 5. Yeah. So if the fact that they're on a Halo ring, I want there to be a purpose to it. Don't have to fire it, but I want there to be a purpose. I mean, Menikin Bias's core is on Zeta Halo. That could factor in somehow. I mean, Luke and I we really want Menikin Bias to be in the game in some way, shape, or form. I don't need dialogue from him. Just mention him, use him in some way, because I believe his actual conscious, or whatever you want to call it, is on the Ark currently, and his core is on Zeta Halo. So if you're gonna have a Halo ring, use it. Doesn't mean you have to fire it. I know the creators are going to be in Infinite. I won't say as much as I know, but that's my take on it. I just use a Halo ring. You have it, and just make it make sense. Just don't just bounce all over the place and stuff. It would suck to leave the vanilla game on like a super big cliffhanger that should have been resolved in the vanilla game and have it resolved in a 5-minute rendered cutscene or something. I don't know, but that's my stance on it.
That's fair.
Honestly, I agree with you. I full on agree with you. I agree with you. Sorry, I'm forgetting. Oh God, I'm set up improperly for this. But regardless, I do agree. No, like we have to be better than Halo 5 with Halo Infinite. We have to address the created and find a proper way to cease their story. And again, also referencing to Zeta Halo. Oh, we know so much about this dark place. There's the palaces of pain. Who knows if they still exist? They most likely do. And so you can just like I do want to see the created fleshed out and used. And I do believe, in a weird way, I imagine the game, from what I'm going to presume, I imagine the game sort of in three main chapters. Chapter 1 is going to address, like, it's going to probably build up to a created encounter, because why is the weapon not fired, technically speaking? Fired. You know, she's still alive. Or Cortuna. Huh? Why do they still exist? That first chapter is probably like the build up of like, okay, no, you're in this mission, you're working with the weapon, you're fighting off creative. That's sort of the first third of the game. And oh no, that's what Faber was seeking. He was seeking perfection. He was blind the whole time. Sorry. Back into the railroad. We have first part of the game. We're going to deal with the created, and we're not going to finish them off, but we're going to like, okay, no, we're established. You are still an antagonist, and then bam, Banished is going to come in around the corner, smack us in the face with a bat. And like, oh, what the hell? Oh, it's you guys. And they're probably going to have stolen something from the created. They're going to use whatever they're stolen. Yeah, the Harbinger, whatever that thing is.
I will ask later what you guys think that is, but after this.
Solid. And where was I going with this? God damn my brain. Work with me, buddy. Come on. Yeah, first third, and then the last 2/3 are more Banished focused, but we start to see in the last third that created creep and possibly the Flood if they're in there. And I just think, no, they need to be addressed, and we need to briefly embrace them in the story, and then we can sweep them under the rug and pretend they never existed.
Oh yeah.
Let's just put these mechanical skeletons in the closet.
I think you actually mentioned something that made me go, oh my God, that's the thing that's been in Halo since day one, is that Halo's always been a game where it's a war on two fronts, whether that's the Covenant and the Banished, and they're the UNSC, the Covenant and the Flood. You've had this war on two fronts for every single faction, and even the Flood, you're fighting the UNSC and the Covenant. And then with the Covenant, you have the Banished and UNSC. So every single faction's always had a war on two fronts. And I think that's a really interesting concept for Halo Infinite, because as much as I want the Flood in it, throwing the Flood in there, then it's a war on three fronts. That's a lot of things to shove into a game without it being just super, just like, this is a soft reboot. You don't want new players to be like, oh, this is new. Oh, this is new. Okay, what is going on now? Why should I care about the Flood or the Bandit? Who's should I care more about being an antagonist right now? So I'm worried that they're going to stuff this game with too much. I want it to make sense. I want it to be cohesive. But that's an interesting point you bring up, because Halo is a war on two fronts, and I'll leave it at that.
Actually, I just realized, going back to an old thought of Locke, chasing after Hyperius, and to use Fireteam Osiris. What about the rest of them? Maybe they are the ones who are hunting. Like, okay, no, we know about this created stuff. We need to go take care of this. Chief, you take care of the Banished. We're going to cover the rear, and make sure this created AI uprising can be stopped very quickly.
Okay.
Mainly because I want to see more of Olympia Vale, because she's a great character, thanks to why can't I remember one of her? No, not
Lauren. I don't know.
You know what I mean. The one where they went back to the Ark.
Yep.
Ark. That one.
I mean, haven't we seen that the can't the Halo rings like move on themselves? Like they actually warp.
They can. They can move if they can move by themselves. Yeah.
What if they just warped out of the galaxy? Like how the Ark is actually outside of the galaxy. What if they just did that, and that explains why the created aren't there?
They could.
We're taking my marbles and going home.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is read Point of Light.
Yeah, okay. All right, Fire. I haven't read that one. I did read Shadows of Reach, but not Point of Light yet.
I need to. I missed out on it, unfortunately, as well.
All right. So the Harbinger. What do you think this is?
It's Craig.
I think given to what Eshram described them to be, the Harbinger and the Banished fight together in the name of Atriox. I think that this Harbinger, it could be like a band of ex-Covenant. I'm not so certain that this is like a Forerunner group and all that. Why would they fight for a brute? Like, why would they have a shared common cause with this faction? It doesn't make sense to me. Harbinger kind of sounds like a Zenghili or actually, it does sound like more of a Zenghili type group. Maybe that might explain why the elites we've been seeing in thus far aren't in typical Banished colors. Maybe they are not Banished. Maybe they're part of this Harbinger group. It didn't describe them as like, from what I got, Eshram described the Harbinger, didn't really sound like a person, more like a group, like the Banished. Like if you just, instead of saying the Banished or anything like that, like, no, it's not an individual, it's the group. And I think that's the same case for this Harbinger faction. That's why I'm calling it a faction at this point.
Fair enough. Okay. I have a wild theory that I highly doubt is true, but will be a great what if, and I've got an accurate one. I'm going to go with this is highly unlikely first, just to blow brains. Again, take this with the biggest grain of salt. I'm sorry. What if it was a composed Jul Umdama? Highly. Now I know this is dumb. This is uber dumb, but ride this crazy train with me.
All aboard. Let's go.
Sorry. Oh god, I'm getting cotton mouth with this one. And since yes, it's most like the truth. Yeah, he probably died. Whatever. I've always had in this head this beautiful scene in my head of like the Promethean Knights crawling up into the chamber where you killed Jul-Mdama and grabbing the body and realizing, no, you're a figurehead. You can be useful. Oh, you built a faction, and for us, we could have not technically gotten off a Requiem without you and Cortana helping us out. All aboard the Studios Express. And then with that, they've been taking time to fix him and calibrate him for the created, and turn him into this entity. And Jul-Mdama, being the deceitful character he is, using that to his advantage. It's much like what he did with Hesduros, coming before the Banished saying, hey, look it, I know what you're after too. Ooh, I can help you. Ooh, I'm not part of the created. But it could be just a created trap. If we wanted to go that story, it's a very weird one. I highly doubt it, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm honestly hoping I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm. That's like, I don't want to be offensive, but that is like the least likely scenario in that case, because I'm fairly certain someone has to be alive to be composed. I'm fairly certain.
Well, what about human smarty eyes? Those are dead brains, technically speaking.
Well, they were made from a living person.
They post-mortem. What's to stop a person from doing that with a Zenghili brain?
Okay.
But now my actual theory. I'm much like many other people, I think it's meant to get bias. Or at least whatever's left of him on Zeta Halo.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. Just because I want to pull in that really cool piece of lore, and also I realize, like probably most people realize on Halo 3 that he was a major character, a major player in that storyline, but only if you read the terminals, and not everyone did. So it'd be cool just to have him like actively participate, and you know that he is.
Exactly.
That'd be cool.
I guess in terms of my theory, I don't really have one for the Harbinger. For me personally, the way I took it in the way Eshram said, just looking at a grammatical way is, to me, it seems like a person or a thing, a thing with at least a will and like a consciousness. The Harbinger is, the Covenant is a group of people. The Banished, you don't call someone like, I'm not going to call Will the Banished. Like, it's the Banished guy. The Banished is an adjective. It's also a verb in some ways. And for me, the Harbinger isn't really an adjective. The Harbinger is the act of having something or being something. I could be wrong. It just sounds like a person, like the librarian. It just sounds like a person to me. You can have the and still be someone like the didact. I don't know. It just, to me,
the didact's hand.
There you go. But for me, in a grammatical way, I'm looking at it as it's a person, it's a thing that's helping them. It could be Mencken Bias's core. They could be, misinterpreting its intentions. Like, oh, he decided to help us. Cool, that's great. We're trying to take over the ring. And in terms of Forerunners or Prometheans helping the Banished, I think they do have a common goal, because if the Banished are trying to take control of this ring and use it, the Prometheans are going to help the more likely cause to do that, or the Forerunners, whatever is going on. Again, this is super unlikely. I'm just saying if the Forerunners were here, because then they could just sweep the rug underneath the Banished. Like, thank you for giving us our ring back. Goodbye. We're going to slip space out of here. But my theory, it's a person or it's a thing. I don't know about it being a faction, unless 343 says so. Because just, to me, that's a lot of things going on. The Created, the Flood, the Harbinger, the Banished. That's a lot of things going on. Again, though, if it is a faction, it is a 10-year-long game. You need a live service. You need DLC. Look at Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is a good example of continuing DLC with like the Darkness, the Hive. So all that stuff, you could do a game with a lot of factions. So I'm not saying it's impossible. Just they'd have to do something that would just make it work, I guess.
Make it fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Not denying it can't be a faction. Just, to me, the way he said it sounds like a person or a thing. But we have one line to work with. Exactly. One line. Yeah. So it could go either way, honestly.
We're Halo fans. We must scrutinize every single adjective.
Yeah, I respect Halo, like strictly Halo content creators, because that drought you guys went through for like 5 years. My God. Respect. But anyways, that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah. And I like from the chat here, the Didact being an option too. I honestly would be really excited to bring that Didact back. He did not get a fair shake in Halo 4.
Agreed.
Was just gone, and they killed him off officially in the comic, which was just so depressing. They really should have doubled down on that character and made him into something cool, like an Aatrox type character. That would have been really nice. I didn't like his design. I wish they had kept his mask on the entire time, just because like the cat vampire looking thing was weird. But
I like that because he was experimenting on himself with the Flood, so it made him look a little different. I kind of like that.
From the lore perspective, I like it. It's fine, but as far as like his first encounter with the Chief, it's just weird. And also he's like, he can like levitate people or do like telekinesis. That doesn't make any sense.
Darth Didact.
Yeah. Telekinesis.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and move into I realize we were trying to be very positive, but move into a slightly darker topic with the co-op situation. I know Nakai and I were talking, and how for me, co-op has always been a big deal because I first played Halo with my brother. I know it's a big deal for a lot of other people. And Nakai was saying, he's mostly just going to play the campaign single player. What do you guys think? Is this going to hurt Halo? Why do you think it happened? And is it a necessary feature?
Like he said, I'm indifferent, honestly. I can definitely understand why people are upset about that with the co-op. I can definitely understand that, but as to me myself, I haven't if I ever done campaign co-op, it's gonna be a long time, and it's I mostly prefer playing by myself when it comes to campaign. That way I can soak it all in and all that. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I'm indifferent. It's not affecting my judgment of the game. I can understand where it can affect others. But to me, it's just, I can wait 3 months. It's not a huge deal. And I don't want people, this is a bummer, to be sure. But let's keep in mind, this is a delay, not a removal.
That's fair.
And you're still going to have it. It's just going to take a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking I can kind of see you are eager to talk about this, so I'm going to.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet.
No,
as a reactor, I had planned on playing it by myself anyway. So Nakai, I'm indifferent. I mean, Halo is always, something that a lot of, maybe fathers now who want to play Halo with their kid for the first time, and maybe will be disappointed by the fact that they can't. That's something I always think about, because if I had a kid of my own and they were old enough to experience Halo, and you were able to play that, a new Halo for the first time with your kid, and that's being taken away from you at launch, I understand that pain. But I also look at it as 99% of the people complaining about this are going to buy it day one anyway, so I don't think it's going to hurt the game at all.
Yeah,
maybe the reputation, but I don't think it's going to hurt the sales. I always planned on playing it by myself the first time anyways. I always played on normal the first time just to soak up the story. And then I go back playing on legendary and then, soak up all the Easter eggs and all that other stuff. So again, I'm indifferent. I was going to play it by myself anyways. It just sucks for the other people who maybe have had plans in the past, or who maybe want to play with a brother or a son, father, or something like that. So yeah, that's my answer. I just, like Nakai said, it's a delay, not a removal. That's something important to think about.
That's fair.
Yeah. For me, I hate to be the contrarian, but I'm going to be a contrarian. I'm a little upset with it, honestly, because it's a weird case. I love single player as well. I love playing the story for the first time right away on my own as well, much like you guys, just to soak up everything, to just feel it and explore it. But in a weird way for Halo Infinite, after Halo 5, after not having like that couch co-op, I was really looking forward to launching it, sitting down with my close friends, because like I have a lot of friends who don't play Xbox, but they're close by, and so like, oh no, we were going to sit down, we were going to have a great time.
Yep, and I promised split screen after
exactly, and just like after 6 years of not being able to just sit down with someone, like, hey, no, look, a new Halo game, we don't have to play through Reach again. And our Halo 3, it's like, no, we're now sitting down, experiencing this new story together. And another thing I was looking for is like, ever since I became a part of the Covenant Canon, what I consider a second family to me, I was looking forward to like us sitting down and streaming the campaign right away, and just presenting to the world and like, okay, no, this is what we've been waiting for, guys.
Well, we can still stream it. We can still do it later on, but
exactly. I'm just worried. I'm worried about the health of the game. I'm worried about hype. I think it's gonna be okay. It's painful. It is painful. I wish it wasn't the case, because just it feels a lot like broken promises as well. We're still getting it, and I'm happy. I'm still hopeful for it, but it is severely disappointing and severely painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's completely understandable that for people who usually play it, it's natural. It's fine to be disappointed. Just be understandably disappointed. Don't be like, oh, it's terrible now, this is gonna ruin the whole experience for me. Like, no.
I do want to question it, though. I do want to question why.
So I've thought about this, and I think I really think that maybe not anytime soon, but we'll eventually find out that Joe Staten really reworked the campaign quite a bit to justify the over a year delay. And I also think that even without a reworking, just the design of the game itself is way different from a normal Halo game. So it's like how they're always talking about how you can take a banished stronghold. How are they going to figure out how to have like two players? Can they only be next to each other? Can one attack from one side or one attack from like another side? And if you think about that, you're going to have to render the entire world in between those two spaces. You're going to have all of those AI working at the same time. It's going to have to make sense. That's going to really stress the engine. So I can understand them being like, well, crap, how do we do this? And also, if one dies, does it zap back to the other person? Because that ruins your strategic advantage. So I can understand that, like trying to work that out. However, they've had 6 years to think about that. So
exactly.
You think someone would have figured it out?
And just
I guess.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, but the thing is, everything else that's coming out about the game, I'm very pumped about. So just the art design, I love the music. The mystery that I'm feeling is new to me again. So like Halo 4, honestly, the beginning of Halo 4 I thought was very mysterious, but Halo 5 was not mysterious at all. That game was just like really a huge letdown. But this one
was
really
trying to be the Avengers.
Exactly. That's exactly how it felt. I'm going super orange right now, but I like the mystery that's building up. Like just us talking about like what is the Harbinger? There's just one small mystery there, or like what's happened to the creative, what's happened to the ring. There's so many things that it's just a mystery, and that's exciting. So I'm still pumped for the game. I wish it was co-op at launch, but I understand it.
I would just like to add that every single thing main thing that people have complained about: no co-op campaign at launch, no playable elites at launch, no forge at launch. These are all things that are ending with at launch, not getting rid of. And a lot of things people always comment every single time a game is delayed is a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad or something like that. So I want to play Halo. I really do. And if they delayed the game just for 2 or 3 features, I'd be slightly disappointed over that. Granted, they are big Halo features, but who says a Halo game has to launch with Forge just because it has in the past? I think it's something to look forward to. And I think with especially a live service game, you always want something to look forward to. I don't want to exhaust all the game at once. So yeah, the whole at launch thing is something people I think really need to pay attention to. But I do understand that couch co-op is not really a feature. It's more so like a core aspect of Halo. So I do understand that too. But it's just something I wanted to point out for a lot of people who are being negative.
I do want to also mention MCC. It had a piss poor launch. It had a piss poor launch. Now it's praised. It's praised like no tomorrow now. After the last 2 years of working on it, it's now praised.
Yep.
And I would also like to remind people of that, because while it might have a questionable launch, which I'm not saying it will, even with a questionable launch, that doesn't necessarily be it's going to be a bad game. It's just going to be difficult at first, but once it all polishes out, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, and then there's gonna be someone
at least that's my hope.
Yeah, there's someone in the chat's gonna be like, "Well, back in my day, games just launched complete." It's like, yeah, they did, but they're also itty bitty games, compared to what we're getting now. So there's a lot more going on, and the thing is, they've been working on this game for 6 years. They designed an entire new engine. I'm sure there's going to be stories about them changing up the story. At some point, Microsoft's going to be like, "I'm not paying you anymore. Get the game out, and you're going to build up the rest of it because of the live service." So there's obviously studio pressure as well on the developers. So them saying like everyone like demanding them to delay might actually cost them their jobs. So I would rather the game launch like in a not necessarily, it's obviously not complete, but a polished state, and then build in some of these features that they're missing. Versus like I don't want them to close the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Although I'll always miss just buying a game. And just having the game.
That's a point I kind of not find irrelevant, but in terms of this specific game, I find irrelevant. In terms of back in my day, I used to buy a game when it was a complete, because then you have games like Halo 3. You bought Halo 3, you got Halo 3. It wasn't a live service game. You bought it, and that was it. You had the multiplayer intact, and I think there was one DLC, but that launched with Halo 3 ODST, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a completely separate game on its own, too. But Halo Infinite is different. It's a live service game, just like Destiny 2. When you bought Destiny 2, that wasn't it. They added stuff, and they're still adding stuff. A new season just came out. My brother is a big Destiny 2 fan, so I know all about it every once in a while. So I think the whole argument with when a game launches, I want the full game. I think that's a good argument to have if the game was just the game, not a live service game. It's two different things. So I understand that. I also think there's a difference between adding DLC and being a live service. I mean, look at a game like Skyrim. Added a whole new expansion. That was a DLC that you paid for. This is a live service game where updates are going to be free. So I think that's just also another point I look for. Again, I'm not saying people don't have a right to be upset or disappointed. Not what I'm saying at all. That's just the way I look at it. I'm just trying to be positive. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
I'm
happy to be positive.
Yeah.
Man, there's something that you said that. Oh man. Now. I was gonna have a point on it, but I don't remember what it was now. I'm very disappointed in myself.
It escaped.
Yeah,
here's your point.
Yeah, exactly. If you remember it, let me know.
Why is it here in Canada?
So as far as when they launch co-op, do you really think that how do you think they're gonna handle it? Do you think they're gonna actually like have barriers where like in classic Halo, someone hits a checkpoint, gets snapped to them, or are you gonna be like within like say like how ODST is designed, and you have these certain sections of the map that is sectioned off, and you're able to explore the entirety of the map?
Sorry, Nikai, you're first in line.
I think in a way it's gonna be a mix of both, really. Like, since Infinite is gonna be a semi-open world type scenario, I think it's gonna be like ODST. You're gonna allowed to explore and all that, but like if you're approaching like a certain mission, like a main mission type scenario, and you proceed to a certain checkpoint, yeah, it's gonna spawn you in. I think that's what's gonna be the scenario in this case. I don't think it's gonna be like either or. I think it's gonna be a both scenario.
Yeah, similar thoughts as to Nakai. Though I feel like, especially with how we saw the overworld map, I do agree that I think it's going to go with very much an ODST style. Well, just like piece, you're going to explore it piece by piece. You can slowly expand outward.
Okay.
Especially like if they're hyping up the engine as powerful as it is, that could be really nice.
Honestly, I kind of forgot the question. I was kind of dealing with technical stuff on my end.
No, it's basically how is the open world things gonna do with like checkpoints? Like, are you gonna be like teleporting like CE, or are you gonna be like full on exploring like in ODST?
Whether or not there's fast travel or anything in that, I would prefer not to use it. I don't like using fast travel anyways, because in a game like Skyrim or now Halo Infinite, I like to be immersed my first go around. So I don't like using fast travel unless it's like, a carriage or something that makes sense. But if I'm playing Halo Infinite for the first time, I don't want to use fast travel. But if the mechanic is there, which I think is the question you guys were looking for, my answer would be it would be cool to fast travel between strongholds. If you take over a stronghold, that unlocks as like a fast travel point, or as like a point where you can spawn weapons or vehicles or something, or ammo, stuff like that. So I think strongholds, or even like UNSC camps along the way, maybe waypoints, like maybe you beat a mission and you unlock like a cool, like I don't know, like there's a mission that involves the Palace of Pain, and you can fast travel the Palace of Pain, go back and explore again once you beat the mission. I think that would be a cool like fast travel point if they decide to do that. Actually, I think fast travel is confirmed, isn't it? That was a mechanic in the settings that we all saw in the fighting, was it not? Wasn't it?
Maybe.
I think it was. It was that and switch seats, because I saw switch seats was coming back too. Cool. So I think fast travel is one too. So yeah, I guess it's a matter of what that entails. But I don't know. That's my guess. Like strongholds, discovering new points of interest, stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I remember what I was going to say. So you're talking about Destiny 2 and how that game has really evolved and has blossomed since launch. However, I really hope that Halo does not actually follow that exact formula, because I tried to get into Destiny 2 the other day, and I'm so lost. I have no idea what's going on. It starts you off like 3 DLCs past where I'm at, and like I'm just so confused.
I severely doubt that they'll travel that kind of route. I think it's going to be kind of like how they did with Spartan Ops, like with episodes, and they kind of do like a wrap up, like in case you missed it. I don't think they're gonna. I think they'll have the campaign, the vanilla campaign, like fresh available for you at like as a main thing, and then it will the expansion DLCs or whatever are going to be like a secondary thing, kind of like also like Awakening Nightmare and Operation
Spearbreaker.
Yeah, Spearbreaker. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think the best way to do it is to avoid Destiny's approach, because I'm a huge Destiny fan. My brother is too, but I used to play Destiny a lot, and Destiny 2 included. I think I stopped playing when the Forsaken DLC came out, and I went back to go play it with him. I created a new character with him, and there were planets just straight up gone. I was like, yo, where did Mars go? Like, does it not exist anymore? He's like, oh no, the darkness took it over. I'm like, when did this happen? Like, yo, I'm gone for like a year, and then a whole planet's gone? Like, to me, that taking away content is just not a good idea at all. It confuses people. So the whole episodic thing that where are you up here that Nakai was talking about is, I think, the perfect approach to go. It doesn't mean you have to like limit like parts of the map. You can go back and explore things you've already done and go places you've already been. That's cool. That's great. But I think, locking into like an episodic thing and not removing things is not like, it's the best way to go. Because like I said, Destiny took a really weird approach. Where I just don't want Halo to fall into that trap of, okay, we got to change the map every once in a while. We got to do all this cool stuff, because taking away is never a good idea.
Yeah, as long as I can start from the beginning and then go through it, that's all I want. Like, you can go ahead and go crazy, but I want to be able to go back.
I personally think that's what's going to happen. I doubt for like they're gonna take away like an expansion and then put in a new one. I think it's gonna be more like archived, like how usual expansions are with Halo. Like I said, with Halo Wars 2, how it's done. Like it's done with other games like Gears of War and all that, like with Rom Shadow, that kind of thing.
Cool. All right, guys. So it's getting pretty late here, at least for me. So
Me
is there
too.
like one last thing you guys want to say on this topic about Halo Aliens, and then we'll wrap up?
I don't think I got any right now. Do you, Draker?
Always. I always have opinions on aliens, but I'll keep it short. No, 343 and Bungie have both done fantastic jobs with the races, and every time we see them in a game, it is so nice. The personalities are well fleshed out. I would love to see more novel characters or comic characters that are not human. I want to get another novel like Broken Circle, where we're no human perspective, zero human perspective, all alien. And I want to see more of the cultures and embrace them. I want to have more both villains and heroes. More is always good when you have a shortage of them.
Yep. I've been crazy. Funny thing, actually, I've been listening to the audio comic of Broken Circle every time at work right now.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm excited for Halo Infinite still. It's been a rough road recently with a lot of what would be seen as bad news. But it is so worth it. It is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Because I am confident in people. And yeah, it's going to start a little... In a way, Halo Infinite could be seen as a swan. It's going to start off ugly. But you give it time. You give it a little bit of care and make sure it doesn't tear off your arm. And eventually, it'll blossom to something beautiful and yet terrible. We will all be crying from the story, probably by the end.
I guess the final point I would have to make is going back to what Draco said, is the whole stuff with doing more alien-centric stuff is critical. I think probably the most interesting part about the novel Shadows of Reach were the Banished chapters and learning their structure and all that. Like there were points in Shadows of Reach halfway through, I'm like, cool, Fred has a concussion. That's funny. Can we go back to the Banished stuff real quick? That's really interesting. I want to talk about the Portal of the Ark and stuff.
Yeah, I usually, every time I listen to the audio comic, I'm like, yep, skip, Banished part, skip. That's pretty much me.
Yeah, I just thought it was something new because for me, especially as a comic fan, there's things that people don't understand about a good story, that a hero is only as good, or a story is only as good as its villain or antagonist. And when you can understand where an antagonist is coming from, like you can understand where Atriox is coming from. This whole, people he worked for and like died for, or not died for, but he was going to die for over and over again, just tossed him aside. They said, "You're banished. Get out. I cast you out and strip you of your power, Thor." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to go make my own then." And I think, understanding that villain, not justifying his actions, that's what makes him a villain, but understanding that aspect of stuff. I don't think we're going to get a Banished, only mission in Infinite or anything like that. But I think that in other novels and stuff, it would be cool. Other novels and stuff would be great. And I think tying into what I was going to say. Sorry, go ahead.
To quickly say, we most likely won't get something Banished in Halo Infinite. And yet, we also said the same thing about Halo Wars 2.
That's true.
Touche.
That's true.
The big old Juralhani touche. But I guess what I'm trying to say is Halo is known for its diversity in characters. It's aliens, I guess. It's a very diverse game in terms of sandbox and all that. And it would be a shame if Infinite didn't take advantage of that. I want to see a cool brute gameplay loop like we had in Halo 2 with the Raging. I want to see a big difference in elites and brutes, Juralhani and Zenghilios. I mean, their races, they have different, aspects to them that make them so unique. Use it. Aliens, Zenghilios are graceful. Their brutes are very brutish. They're very, they're berserk, and all that. And grunts are scared little creatures, and jackals are pirates and snipers. And I think you need to really lean into that and embrace the aspect of Halo's alien diversity, because that's what makes it such a great sandbox and such a great game. And I think that is my point I am trying to make.
Awesome. All right. Well, I really appreciate you all coming on, and I hope you had fun. I enjoyed talking about aliens and Halo. I was talking this all the time.
I will
Hell
always
yeah.
like talking about the Covenant and all that stuff.
You couldn't stop me. And also, I want to do one more congratulations. Thanks to you guys, the audience, for sitting down and listening to a bunch of us weirdos
Absolutely.
talk about one of your favorite video games. Are our opinions wrong? Probably. It's the internet. We're always wrong. But seriously, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules. I know for some of you, it's nearly 6 a.m, probably.
Yeah.
That is dedication.
That is uber dedication. And I don't know how you do it week after week sometimes. But thank you all so much for your time. You are what make us as content creators possible. Well, and I can't wait to start playing some Halo with you guys. So tell me, guys. So tell me, guys, is it Thursday yet?
All right. As always, I'm Will from the CHRILLCAST.
I'm Nakai Vodar.
I am Draco Studios.
Wow, way to make my outro look lame. I'm Zenghilios. I got an Infinity Gauntlet, though. I mean,
yeah, you're uber cooler than me.
There's actually 2 of them I'm seeing. So, like, which one is the Sacred Timeline? Which one's the variant? I don't know.
Oh,
don't ask.
I don't even know, man.
Actually, yes.
Fools,
right, I have the real one.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
See ya.
See you guys later.